we've got a few minutes for questions with you. Is that
absolutely.
all right? Yeah.
Yes.
We'd love to ask you guys a few questions. Now, there's a few tips for you guys out there who are asking questions. You can tweet #NYLD. You can text to the number which is on your screen, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and put up your hand. Now, if you put up your hand, someone will run to you with a microphone and say, "Hi, what's your question?" When you're asking your question, just say your name, preferably, the name of your school, where you're from, and then ask your question in a loud voice, and that would be great. To get us started, I actually just wanted to ask a question of my own.
Yes.
You've worked with some amazing different police departments around the world. You worked with the FBI. And you had that amazing photo when you were sitting there in, you looked about 15 when you were in police uniform there.
Yes.
Did you know at all what your career would be at that point?
I had absolutely no idea. I'll tell you how I got involved in the police. I finished my plumbing apprenticeship and I worked after the first day of doing plumbing that I hated it more than anything in the world. So I was looking for something already. I walked into a shop in this town that I lived in, and the police had a little stand there with a flyer. Hey, become a police recruit, and I'd never considered it in my life. And I picked it up and I sent off an application, got the interviews, and I actually got in. Everyone was surprised, including me.
First question comes to us from just in the aisle over here. First question is via text. Sorry about that. It's going to come up on our screens in front of us here in just 1 second. So you never really actually had this kind of grand vision of this is the plan, here are the steps?
Look, I never had a grand vision, and you know what? I think that's fine. I think that's normal. Like I said, I've got a boy going into year 12 next year, and I'm learning as a parent every day, and I've had a boy that just finished year 12. And you know what? At the start of the year, when my boy started year 12, I was a bit concerned that he didn't have goals when he left school, that he didn't know what he wanted to do. But you know what? When I thought about it, you know what I thought? Hey, that's normal. I mean, he doesn't even know what's out there. So I'm happy for him to follow the path that he chooses. I will guide him. But I know that what he does as soon as he leaves, or next year, his first year out of school, may not be. There's a very good chance it won't determine where he ends up. So that's okay if we feel that, my friends know he wants to be an accountant, he wants to be a doctor, he wants to be a truck driver. Just because our friends feel like that, don't think there's something wrong with us if we don't feel like that. It's normal not to have a full plan for the world because you really don't know the world yet. Yep.
That's great. First question is coming to us for SMS. Just a reminder, if you want to ask questions, just to stick your hand up. Someone will be with you with a microphone. What are you most scared about with the future of young people and technology?
Look, I think as time goes, I'll become less scared. I think there is light at the end of the tunnel because you know what? My boys in year 11 and 12, they never got education. We weren't talking about these subjects like cyberbullying. They were just throwing technology, going from year 7 into year 8 purely in a social sense. They weren't even using it at school. So they could learn some positive behaviours online, how to use it productively. I think it's getting better. I know that most people are getting on younger. Most schools have it now. Most homes have technology. It's very accessible, wireless hotspots. Older people are getting on, so there's a larger volume of people. So there will probably be more issues we've got to be aware of, and there's more places we can connect with people. But I think people themselves are coming more educated. If you choose that you're never going to be a victim on the internet, you will never be a victim on the internet. It's the choices that you make. So I think the education we have now, I think we're going to see things turn. I think we're going to see things change, a change of mindset when it comes to technology.
I want to thank Lechi and Jaden and Nambour and Dakota from Nambour High for running the mics. They've run it to our first question here in the aisle. How are you?
Good. My name is Cora and I am from Jendawi P10 State School. And my question is, what encouraged you to become a police officer?
What encouraged me? Look, I was looking for something different. Sometimes necessity is the father of all invention. So I was looking for something and something presented itself, so I took it. Maybe if I was happy in the job I did, I wouldn't have gone to the police and my life would have turned out in a totally different way. But I think things happen for a reason, and I saw that brochure and I thought this would be really interesting. You know what I wanted? I thought, wow, I used to love the police parkas that they used to wear. I liked the look of the uniform. That's one of the main reasons I sent in an application. And I was totally shocked when I got there. Hey, when my first day at the police academy, I turned up, 2 of us were taken by the sergeant down to the local barbers in Anala to get a haircut. Because the first day I got into trouble for having long hair. So I learnt very, very quickly, because a lot of the other recruits were a fair bit older than me. But you know what? It's something that I probably deep down probably did want to do anyway. I just hadn't considered. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know anyone who was in the police force, but when I saw that brochure, it's just something that I chose to do. So that's why I followed the path.
It's a question from just up the top here.
My name's Emma and I go to St. Rita's, and my question is, what is the biggest difference that you think you have made?
The biggest difference I think I've made, whenever I speak to any group of students, if I say the right thing to the right student, I can see the light switch come on. I'll give you an example of that. I was speaking at a school last week, and I said to the students, hey, you guys who's sitting there, if you've got a Facebook, imagine this, while you're sitting here and I'm talking to you this very second, when I'm talking to you, 1 billion people could be looking at your pictures, looking at your Facebook, downloading your information, copying it, passing it around, doing whatever they want with it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because that's just how the internet works. The internet never shuts down, even if we log out. It's still there for other people. But I look around the audience and I can see the light switch come on in some students. And they go, oh, you know what? They're smart. They're intelligent. They know how to use technology. They've just never considered it in that way. So I know from feedback that I get that I'm changing the ideas of people when they use technology. Not just you guys, but teachers as well, other adults and parents. So changing how people view technology, because the way I teach them to view it, I believe, helps protect them in that world.
The next question comes to us from just up here.
My name's Jackie and I'm from Pine River State High School, and my question is, did you ever think you would be a good leader?
Did I ever think I'd be a good leader? Look, probably not. Even though I was in the police force for a long time, I got to the rank of sergeant, so I had teams under me to manage. But it really hit home of what it meant to be a leader when I went over to Iraq. So I never imagined that I'd be going down that path, that people would be looking to me in that way. But I did feel that responsibility, and I was made aware of those responsibilities in the police and Iraq. But you know what? I'd never considered myself a leader till I was put in the position where I was tested, and then I thought, I've got to develop some skills here. This isn't what I thought it would be like. Because a lot of people want to be in charge but don't understand what it means to be in charge. And it's not only being in charge. I mean, even as a constable, I suppose it's really important on you to be a good example, not for only other police, but for the public as well. So that's being a leader as well, purely by being a police officer. So I never really considered it like that, but when it was given to me, I found I had some of the skills, but I had to develop other skills.
Next question comes to us via text, and it's going to turn up on the screen here. How did becoming a detective and getting the online job affect your life, and how you act in the real world? That's a long text message. Well done.
Yeah, I think the last part of that question sort of indicates, did it affect you how you operated in the real world? Look, I don't believe it did at the time. It made me very... Because when I started doing this job, undercover on the internet, I knew nothing about technology. I was taught from day one. I'd never been into a chat room. I'd never played an online game. I'd never had a social networking site. So I had to be taught all these things. So it was a very quick learning curve. But I found I had the skills I needed to do that job. It was all about communicating with real people. Affecting my real world, you know what? I did shift work for 22 years. And when I started doing this job, I had to work when you guys would be on the internet because I was pretending to be you. So I would work from maybe 3 in the afternoon till 10 at night, which for a police officer isn't too bad because you can get the 10 p.m. shift to the 6 a.m. shift, which isn't very pleasant, particularly if you've got a family. But so I'd work weekends, I'd work those late shifts, and I'd also I could work during the day on school holidays because that's when everyone's online. So that's when I'd work. So it didn't affect my world that much, the hours. The actual content, actually doing the job, how did that affect me? I really enjoyed it. But you know what? I had other detectives who would come in, they'd start working there, and in 1 week they'd go, I can't do this. Not that they couldn't physically do it. They said, I just can't handle this. So they would move. So I think everybody is different. And that's something we acknowledge, that what affects something online, maybe you feel, that wouldn't affect me. Maybe it affects your mate in a different way. So we all interpret that information and it affects us in a different way. I didn't feel that it affected me. I tried to distance myself. I know they were real people, and the people that I would communicate with would end up arresting them and seeing the real person. And you know what? Every single time, the person that I arrested was totally different to the person of them that I had in my mind. Because that, on the screen there, created an image that wasn't reality, but I believed it was real. And I expected to see someone when I arrested them, and they were totally different when I turned up. So that's another thing we've got to be careful about with technology. It'll try and play a trick on our mind to make us believe that what we see on that screen is actually reality. But it's not, it's just data. So I don't think it did affect me, whether online or in the real world. I really enjoyed what I did. And I would, if you think that would be a path you'd like to go down, I'd really encourage anybody. I didn't bring anything negative out of it. There's a lot of protective measures put in place by the police for police officers who do jobs that are probably a little bit out of the ordinary. Yeah.
We've got time for one last quick question, which comes from just over here.
Hi, my name is Laura and I'm from St. Aidan's. And I was just wondering if you could give one advice to us, especially as teenagers. What would you say to be safe on Facebook? Like, could you give us a tip how to be safe? And yeah.
Definitely. What you do, you get your computer and you throw it in the swimming pool. Of course you don't do that. That'll solve all your problems, but it's very expensive. And it'll only solve them for a little while. Look, I suppose Facebook, I think we've got, there's a lot of information online. And I know your school would have information about how to use social networking sites appropriately, but these are the things that I would say. Facebook, through public pressure, gives you one thing. They give you privacy settings to protect your information. Use those settings. Privacy settings will not stop you having friends or having fun. It will just help you take control of the information that you don't want particular people to see. So use those privacy settings. Take a bit of time. If you're not sure about exactly how they work or what they're capable of doing, talk to some of your friends, maybe Google it. Maybe get one of your friends to go to your site, or someone who's not one of your contacts to go to your site to test it, to see what they can see. If you're going to put privacy settings in place, be your own man, be your own woman, and decide who does and doesn't deserve to go on that list. There's no point having privacy settings if we're just going to let anybody in. Ask yourself, what is the purpose of me putting this here? Do I need to put it here? Could I put something different? What if someone printed that out? Could I get into trouble? What if I'm going for a part-time job next year and I've said something that's not real nice? Will I miss out on a job because my prospective employer sees that? So think about, what do I need to put up there? Always remember, I'm dealing with real people, even though I can't see them. So I have the same responsibilities, and they have the same responsibilities when it comes to me. So knowing we're dealing with real people, only share our identity, which is the only thing we own. And it's more valuable than gold. It's the only thing we own when we get on the internet. Protect your identity, use the privacy settings, be your own man, be your own woman, decide who does and doesn't deserve to be on your friends or your contacts list, and only share information if you have to. What is the purpose of me doing this? And get yourself into that habit. Yeah.
Well, Brett, to say thanks, we have Rachel and Angela from Mary MacKillop College. Please come up to stage. Let's give these guys a round of applause.
On behalf of everyone here at the National Young Leaders Day, I'd like to thank you for sharing your experiences and giving us insight onto online leadership. And we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much. Are you guys twins?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, can we thank Brett Lee? Thanks so much.